Hello friends and enemies. I am here with a fun one, obviously. I'm in my Omegaverse lover sweatshirt. You've seen the t-shirt. There's a sweatshirt too, don't worry. I had to get both because it's me. And I do love an Omegaverse. I have to be careful. I cannot marathon them too much. I feel that way about most genres, let's be real. But yeah, I love an Omegaverse. I have been reading Omegaverse for a while again now. I have an Omegaverse pick for my members pick next month, which is really exciting. And because of that, here I am to give you my Omegaverse TBR. So these are all the Omegaverse books I have saved on Goodreads. And we're just going to talk about what I have saved, what I'm excited to read. Some I'm hoping to get to sooner than later, all that good jazz. I do mostly only have one book per series saved. I've kind of instated that rule for myself. But I do have like multiples by the same author as well. It just depends. Let's dive in and I'll talk to you about what I want to read. So first up, I have some Sarah Blues. Specifically, I have Heat Haven, which is on Audible with an Audible membership, which mine's about to expire. So I specifically have this one because I know that I would like to read it before my Audible membership goes away because I get the audio for free. It is also very short. This follows an Omega who ends up going to a Heat Haven, and he is of course a grumpy man. And I'm assuming that leads to her getting a pack. I don't know a ton about it. I figured I would read it because, hello, it is not very long, and two, I have the audio for free. I also have saved Mile High Heat, which I believe involves an Omega going into heat mid-flight, which sounds like a nightmare. But the plane's captain comes to her rescue, and I just think that sounds intriguing. Again, could be fun, could be terrible, I don't know. And if I like that one, I do have High Seas Heat from Sarah Blue pulled in that series for book 2, because this follows a heroine on a cruise, and I'm going on a cruise later this year, and I just thought, well, perhaps we should read that. Perhaps we should read that on the cruise, I don't know. But yeah, so that one, she goes on a cruise and runs out of suppressants, so, you know, good times abound. But yeah, I'm curious to try Sarah Blue. I've not really read any of her Omegaverse. I've read one of her paranormals, and I didn't hate it. Then I have her Naughty List by Ari Wright saved. She's supposed to be on her honeymoon. This is a Christmas time one. She's driving a getaway car up a mountain in a snowstorm, and she ends up snowed in with a pack of strangers that show up in her cabin overnight. So I am intrigued, to say the least, about this one. And again, it's another one that I feel like this winter, perfect. Not Their Style by AJ Shirley is another one on my radar. It's also a shorter one, which I do like. I feel like sometimes Omegaverses converge into being like way too long. Anyway, she of course escapes her abusers. I feel like that's a common theme in a lot of Omegaverses. And she wakes up in the mansion of a famous pack of the most eligible bachelors. And we go from there. I'm intrigued. She wants to be a fashion designer, so that's fun. So I have the Bond Dissolution series by Alana Lee to finish. Also, I would like to read book 2 and 3. Book 2 is a continuation of book 1, and book 3 is another character. They just left Audible exclusivity for audio, so that's part of why I haven't read them yet. I read book 1 on audio. I enjoyed it. It was not available anywhere, so I kind of left it there. This one follows Omegas who go through a thing to dissolve their bonds with their prior packs because of issues. Our first one, it was very emotional, but very, very, like, it was a very emotional beginning in the first book of that series, and then it was, like, really, really sweet, the rest of it. So I'm very excited for more. Then we have Drea Wells. She has Nothing Is Free, which follows a heroine we meet in her other series, Going Down Smooth, which was a fantastic duet as well. I really enjoyed that. But this follows a girl we meet in that book, Mercy, who ends up kidnapped at the end of the other book. And I do need to know what's going on there. And then she also just came out with another Omegaverse, which is called Omega on Fire. I don't know anything about it, to be honest with you, but I want to read it. Then I have Harley by Belle Harper. I actually have an audiobook arc of this, which is why it's on my list, is in my TBR. This follows an Omega on her choosing day, except for she wants a specific pack. She has a late awakening. It's a whole thing. I'm very intrigued by it, but I'm not positive if I'll love it or not. Then we have a staple Omegaverse. A classic Omegaverse? What do you want to call this? I don't know what you call Lola and the Millionaires, but almost everybody I know that's read it loved it. I've already read Baby and the Late Night Howlers, and I loved that book. So I, of course, am hoping to read Lola and the Millionaires. In fact, I will be reading it in June for my members pick, and I'm really, really pumped for that. I think it's going to be a really great experience. I have been putting this book off forever, so I really hope it holds up for me, and I love it. But I'm pretty pumped. I really enjoyed Lola and Baby, so I'm thinking her whole story will be really intriguing for me at the end of the day, and I am just really, really excited. Plus, we're getting traditional releases of these, which I think is wild that we're getting Omegaverse on the shelf in a bookstore. easily accessible, not an indie bookstore. This is one that I think is an interesting pick for me, and it's called Pucking Feral by Lenore Rosewood. It's an author, AU, of a pack and their hockey players instead of this dystopian setup that they had, and it gives... Listen, I'm not saying this book was prior or based in some capacity on Call of Duty fanfic, but I feel like there's like Call of Duty vibes here, okay? So I really want to read this. I've seen people talking about it, and I was just like, I'm really intrigued what this looks like. You don't have to read the regular book to read this. So yeah, I'm just really intrigued. I do believe it is omegaverse. The cover gives that vibe, so we'll see. Then I have Looking to Pass by Fern Olive on my TBR. This comes out at the end of May. So part of me wanting to clear my KU was like, I kept forgetting this was coming out, and then I get an ad for it, and I was like, I really want to read this book. This is a girl in college. She's on an Omega scholarship. One of the characters is a rugby player, so I was immediately in. I don't think I've read any rugby players in Omegaverse. Not in romance. I've read rugby romances, but I have not read an Omegaverse with a rugby player. Anyways, it's MMFM, so Swords Cross. It's an ex-boyfriend's dad, brother's best friend, and I think another rugby player. Anyways, I really want to read this book. Like, I really, really want to read this book, okay? And it comes out at the end of May, so I'm just like, okay, we gotta read our KU so we can read this soon. Then I also have Packed in the Penalty Box by Melissa Huxley. This one is a bad boy alpha and his omega. She thought she was a one alpha kind of girl. Turns out she's not. And he's been in trouble, at the very least, for different things in the NHL. So I think it'll be fun. I've read another book by Melissa Huxley that I got an arc of. It was fine. I'm expecting to enjoy this just fine. Same thing. I have a lot of hockey ones here, okay? I'm sorry. It's just what it is. I also have Loving Ladybug by Jane Handler. I think I own this on my Kindle. Either that or I have the wrong one bold. I'm gonna check myself now. Okay, Finding the Forward by Jane Handler is also on my TBR. This is another hockey romance, and it seems to be an alpha that like no one believes in. So I'm intrigued. We'll see what I think of that. It does have a cliffhanger, so I've got to be in a very specific mood for it. Then we also have Power Shift by Hannah Cohen. This is another, I believe this is also hockey. Yeah, so this is hockey. They're like barely holding it together as a pack, so I think she helps them like heal a lot of that, which I think will be fun. We also have Just Drive by Devin Sinclair. As soon as this came out, I put this on my TBR because like, what do you mean we have an F1 Omegaverse romance? That is, again, like the rugby one. I was like, I didn't even know this was a combo to think of. So I'm very intrigued by this one. I would like to read it at some point. I also have the High Roller Omega series on my TBR. This is a lot of books, a lot of characters. A lot of different authors wrote in this series, which is part of why it's on my TBR, because I thought it was a good way for me to try a lot of new to me Omegaverse authors. So the first one is Queen of Clubs by Alicia Williams. So that's the first book in this series. Then there's Queen of Spades by Gillian West, Queen of Diamonds by Marie McKay, and Queen of Hearts by Sarah Ballou. So I would like to read all four of these. I don't know a lot about them. I just kind of like that this author group did like an interconnected series, so you could kind of try books by each of them to see what you think. Then I have Fleeing Fate by Sabrina Day. I own this. I got this on a free Kindle day ages ago, and obviously I want to read it. I love this cover. I think it is such a good cover, which is what drew me to it actually initially during that free Kindle day. I'll be honest, I'm always looking for authors of color and non-traditional like authors writing in the Omegaverse space because I always think they're fun. And let's see. This is about a girl who basically lived in the woods forever and was never like found until some things change, and now she's like hungry and trying to figure out and navigate the world. I also have a pack of Cozy on my TBR. This is another one I got for free a while ago. It's pretty short. I think this one's like 200 pages. That whole series is called the Omega Book Club. So it seems right up my alley, and I'm really curious to see how this goes. She basically ends up snowed in with a bunch of alphas. Then I also have Knotted by the Incubus by Imani J. This is listed as Omegaverse in the series. I don't know a ton about it, but I am always down for an Incubus or like a more paranormal Omegaverse, so I'm really excited to give this a shot. I also have Endless by Devin St. Clair because I saw someone talk about this somewhere. I don't remember where exactly, but basically her sister's getting married. Her ex is the best man for the groom. And so she's like, I can't do this. So she hires a pack of alpha escorts to go to the wedding with her, and it goes from there. And I just think that's such a fun setup. That is like exactly up my alley. I also have another novella, which is his Surprise Omega. I think this was another freebie I got. She ends up in a mountain town and discovers a secret, obviously, that turns her life upside down because hello. And then we, last but not least, have Red Fang Royal by Lola Rock. The Pack Darling series kind of reignited my Omegaverse love when I read it a couple years ago. So I still have not read the last book in that series. Kind of This Follows Her Friend. It's kind of a interconnected, we'll call it. It's not like full blown connected. So I do need to read Red Fang Royal still. And I'm really excited to at some point, possibly this summer. We'll see. This is another one on my radar. She is in a pack she doesn't want to be in. And I think it's her getting out of that situation from like kind of a shitty pack. And I always love that dynamic. Sometimes I just think it can be fun to read. But yeah, these are the 20 plus Omegaverses on my TBR right now. I would love to know if you have any suggestions for me. If you have any you think I would love. And if any of these are on your TBR. If you don't do any of that, leave me a not rope emoji down below, because why not? Let's have a little fun with it. You can do that down there, and I will have links as always to all these books for you down there, links to my friend anywhere on the internet that I am, and I will talk to y'all in just a few days. Bye.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for.